The time is now 7 o'clock.
We are in the tail end of this grueling summer, and we're definitely looking forward to the season ahead, are we not? Well, this coming October will be a full-fledged festival month for our city, Busan. Yes, with the film festival and also the rock festival and a bunch of smaller events in between. It is great fun, but also a major opportunity for the MICE and tourism industry. Busan City is gearing up for this major month, and hopefully this will be the fall of promise. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Wednesday, August 21st on BEFM, Busan 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're all doing well and surviving the tail end of this long, long summer. And I have to say, I don't know about you, but I can't wait for summer to end. Every morning, our staff, we come in and we talk about how long did you leave the AC on last night? That's like our morning discussion, and we've been talking about it for so long. I feel like we can't wait for fall, and fall seems to be around the corner. And fall is definitely festival season. And we talk about October, it's going to be a big one. Well, Busan City has announced the launch of Festival October. Its first every Busan Integrated Exhibition and Convention from September 30th to October 8th. So it's basically like a little over a week. So this 9-day period will be full of major events. This is when the Busan International Film Festival, we know as BIF, and then we have the Busan International Rock Festival, and the Global Webtoon Festival. We also have the Craft Beer Festival and the Asia Startup Expo. It's all going on in the same period. So this is pretty major. This is just the tip of the iceberg, as there are 17 international events that are going to take place across 6 fields. Busan City sees this month, October, as a major opportunity to develop the city as a global convention city. And during this major period, Busan City will run this October Village and Pavilion at Bexco, holding huge conferences, basically showing off the city's cultural contents. And at the same time, the city will sell integrated tickets for these key events. And they're going to go on sale later this month, and we're going to let you know about all of this, of course, here on Morning Wave in Busan. And a lot of fun activities are in store for you this fall, all you wavers out there. So, by the way, are you looking forward to any of these events? Are you going to be attending? Are you planning to go to any of these events? Let us know. But for now, we're going to turn our attention to our text topic. All right, here we go. In your personal relationships, do you feel more comfortable with someone who is older or younger than you? If you had to choose. 자, 나는 인간관계에 나보다 어린 사람 versus 나이 든 사람 중 어느 쪽이 더 편하다. Oh, okay. So if you had to choose, I'm forcing you to choose. You cannot choose same age as me or 나랑 동갑. 그러니까 꼭 선택을 해야 된다면 someone who's older or younger than you. 자, 나보다 나이가 어린 사람 혹은 나이 든 사람. Oh, did I do that backwards in Korean? Anyway, so someone who's older or younger than you, which is, which do you feel more comfortable with if you had to choose? So make your choice and also let me know why, the reason why. 이유가 뭘까요? You can send in your messages to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to that platform. What you do is first you subscribe. You can log in and then chat with our other waivers. I promise you, it's a fun experience. You can chat away with, they're so chatty on our other waivers. Also, on your phone, pound 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on our Kakao Talk channel. Same thing, search for BEFM or Busan 영어 방송. On our YouTube channel, you can watch in real time, listen to us at the same time. Also, watch again at your leisure later on. We are also available on the Patbang app. Looking at our schedule for today, let's see what's on the agenda. We have Leon coming in for a hashtag fact check. We also have Jennifer later on for Skills 101. For our special interview today, we're going to talk about this trilateral relationship. Korea, the U.S., and Japan. What can we look toward, especially with the news that the Japanese Prime Minister will not be seeking re-election. He will be stepping down, Fumio Kishida. So we told you about that just a few days ago. So what's to come in this trilateral relationship? There's a lot going on. So we're going to unfold all of that in hour number 2. And I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:06, and these are today's headlines. Typhoon Chongdari weakened to a tropical depression. Chongdari, the 9th typhoon of the season, has weakened to a tropical depression, but it is still bringing heavy rain and strong winds as it travels along the western coast. New justice named to Constitutional Court. The Supreme Court has nominated Seoul High Court Judge Kim Bo-kyung as a new justice of the Constitutional Court. Her pending appointment will keep the number of female justices on the Constitutional Court at 3. DP accuses presidential office of interference in drug smuggling probe. A parliamentary committee yesterday held a hearing into allegations that the presidential office interfered in a probe into a large-scale drug smuggling case to cover up the involvement of customs officials. Doctors Group denounces government's license plans for general practitioners. The Korean Medical Association, or KMA, denounced the government's plans to consider introducing a license system for general practitioners, claiming the government is preventing doctors who are immediately needed from going on the scene. Japanese Prime Minister considering visit to South Korea in September. Outgoing Japanese leader Fumio Kishida is considering visiting South Korea early next month and holding a summit with President Yoon Suk-yeol, according to Japanese media. And these are today's headlines. Let's say hi to Haley first for Busan Updates. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, in terms of our tech topic today, Haley, personal relationships. If you had to choose, do you prefer hanging out or being close to someone who's older or younger than you?
I think not by, I don't know if by choice or subconscious choice, but a lot of my friends, I think all of my friends, at least in Korea, are older.
Oh.
They're older than me. Yeah. So my group of like close friends or kemoim. We call ourselves 67890 because that's the ending digit of our birth years. And I'm the last one. So they're all like, 3 to 4 to, I can't do math, 4 to, a year older than me.
Sure.
And then, my coworkers are slightly older than me. And I think, I don't know, I feel this pressure if I'm with people who are younger to be like an example. And I'm like, I can't like I can't be an example. Like I'm not like I can't be the adult. Like
Oh,
I
you'd
just
rather be the
like
막내?
exactly. I cannot like responsibly be the adult of a group. I'm like yeah.
But you're so responsible.
I know, but I just don't want to.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, you're the responsible 막내. It's okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, we're going to jump into our first update. Let's talk about the algal bloom. So it's because obviously very, very hot summer for Busan on record. And so we're talking about the impact on the city's ecosystem, right?
Right. So because once again, the tropical night continues, and of course it is hot during the daytime as well.
Yes.
So you have to address the algal bloom because that is an issue that weighs us down every summer.
Right.
So the algae population or the algal population, it's been exploding, and environmental groups have launched a survey into the state of the algal bloom. But according to the official authorities, the Nakdong River Environment Center, they sample the algae every year, and that sampling population has increased by 9 times in just 1 week. So the alert level is still at the lower attention level, but if this continues by next week, the authorities may have to raise that level. And you can see the visual. And just on a personal note, I was supposed to go kayaking this weekend on Nakdong River, and I definitely canceled that because I'm not going in that.
I went in that river.
Oh, ooh.
Not in. I went on like a banana boat. And my leg grazed the Nakdong River.
Yeah.
My leg grazed it.
Right?
And
Are,
it
are you
turned-
okay?
My clothes.
Right? So
Turned green.
couple weeks ago, it wasn't
Yes.
this bad, but I went kayaking again at the same site.
Yes.
Unknowing, I didn't know this. I wore a white shirt, which like dipped in the water.
Right.
It was dyed green. I mean, it washed
Exactly.
out, but I was just shocked. Anyways, so the conditions are so rife for the algal bloom because we're in the heat wave. It's going to
Yes.
continue for some time longer. Hopefully the rain will dilute the water levels, but right now that concentration is just growing, exploding in the heat.
Indeed.
So environmental groups say that the river has pretty much become a cesspool for algae, and the River Center will continue monitoring and put up barricades to prevent at least the algae from going into the drinking water and the general water system for the city.
And that's quite serious when we talk about when we're bathing, drinking, brushing our teeth.
Right,
Yes.
right. So this is, of course, the water that we use.
Another matter of concern, we've been talking about this all summer long, jellyfish.
Right. So far we've talked about the impact it has because of the warming weather and
Right.
also on the fishing industry. But there's also been a jump in the number of people who have been getting stung by the jellyfish. So according to Busan's fire department, between June 1st is when Haeundae and Songjang beaches opened, and August 18th, there have been 700 jellyfish sting related reports.
Oh.
And that figure has spiked by 450% in a matter of a month. And if you look at that compared to the year before, 810% jump. So by the way, if you do get stung, wash it with clean saline water or go to the authorities if you have any big rashes, swelling, or difficulty breathing, especially.
Yes. So that's water related, very different, obviously, river water. And then we're talking about in the sea. Next up, water again, water playgrounds.
It is summer.
Yes, and ground fountains are, of course, very popular sites for children. And the city apparently regularly tests the water quality at these sites.
They do. So let's go through the latest
Yes.
report. So Busan City conducted water quality level testing across these 93 playgrounds. So all 93 spots also run their own water quality testing and facility safety testing. However, of the 93, 4 spots did not meet the water quality level from the sampling that was taken at the scene by the city. So Busan City notified these 4 spots. They had to temporarily close down their sites to do the necessary measures for them to meet the standards again. They have. So they have retaken and passed the water quality test, and now they're back in normal operation. But regardless of this, Busan City is going to impose fines on these 4 sites.
Right, when you think about it, though, it's not just people, but especially children who play in those
Right,
areas.
right. And they come into contact. And I mean, I have a nephew who's like gone down to like one of the fountains and just opened his mouth under it. And I'm like, oh, sure. Sure. So, yeah.
Yes. All right, next up, Asia's biggest international marketing festival opens today.
Right. So, of course, we are looking to October as the festival season, but that doesn't mean we don't have events going on now. So, the country's one and only, and also Asia's biggest festival, marketing festival, Mad Stars 2024 opens today through the 23rd at Bexco and also throughout Haeundae.
Okay.
So this is the 17th run of the festival. It's sponsored by Busan City as well as the Culture Ministry. And the key theme this year is AI, artificial intelligence, as that has become so pervasive across all industries.
Right.
So how to utilize this crucial technology successfully, as well as looking into kind of the flow and changes in the industry. And also, this will feature humorous ads that were created with AI, but also plus a human touch to kind of remind people why, although AI might be superior, at least partially in terms of its technical capability, you still need that personal touch, the human touch to really bring that to the next level.
Sure.
And there will be over 40 talks on AI and also big tech. Interestingly, speaking of AI, the festival this year for the first time will not have separate interpreters. So there won't be a translator's booth because they're using AI technology for real-time translation services. I'm personally very interested to see how this will work. I know,
Right.
like you and I are both like twitching our eyes. I'm like, we, as proponents of the human touch in language,
Yes.
We'll
yes.
see. We'll see. Yeah. Because I mean, of course, like technical direct translation's fine, but ads, are a lot of, slogans that cannot be, quickly direct
Nuance.
translated. Yes.
Context.
Yes.
So
cultural,
important.
yeah. We'll see.
Hey, we want to check
I'm
this
like,
out.
My arms are crossed.
I
I'm like,
know.
okay.
We
all
have
right.
doubts.
Show me what you got.
All right. Lastly, tomorrow is Energy Day, and it is full of events to celebrate.
Indeed. And this is something that we really think about right now because, air conditioning usage, energy demand is spiking. And in
Yes.
time for that, Energy Day is tomorrow, and there will be different events across the city of Busan at City Hall and major locations throughout Busan.
Okay.
So first off, Busan City will declare Energy Day this afternoon at City Hall. There will be energy-saving events going on, campaigns alongside Gwanghwamun Beach. Gwanghwamun Beach is kind of like the spot for that. Energy demand, once again, has been spiking this summer due to the prolonged heat wave and also these tropical nights. Also, there is going to be a Starlight Music Concert at 7:30 p.m. on Gwanghwamun Beach as well. And then at 8 p.m., don't be alarmed when you see lights turning off on the bridge, Gwanghwamun Bridge, as well as Busan Tower, the City Hall, the Cinema Center, as there will be a quick 5-minute lights out period to, save energy.
Indeed. Well, thank you for the updates, Haley.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, the waivers, just for a moment. In your personal relationships, do you feel more comfortable with someone who is older or younger than you? And when I talk about personal relationships, it could be something romantic, but also just like friendship-wise or work-wise. 자, 나는 인간관계에 나보다 어린 사람 versus 나이 든 사람 중 어느 쪽이 더 편하다. So let's have it. You can send in your messages. Here is your traffic and weather for right now. It is now 7:17. Here's your traffic report for right now. It is looking slow on the Dongso overpass from Hwangryong ramp to the old Kaegum tollgate. It is also backed up on Luno Samsung-daedo from Byungji underpass to Shinho Bridge. Also congested on Bonnyeongno around the Wondong interchange. It's actually in both directions. Please be aware of that area. It's currently 28 degrees Celsius and raining in parts of the city. The rain will continue throughout the day and is expected to end by late afternoon. The expected highs is supposed to go up to around 32 to 33 degrees today. It will be similar across the country as we are still under the influence of tropical depression Chongdari with heavy rain forecast for the capital area, Gangwon, and the central regions. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
right, it's time for News Digest. We have Haley, of course, still with us. First, though, we're going to get updates on this typhoon 종다리.
Well, now it's been demoted to a tropical depression,
Yes.
종다리. Weakened to that at 9 p.m. last night, which is slightly earlier than expected. Actually, 종다리 was a small typhoon to begin with. It wasn't even really supposed to develop into a typhoon in the first place.
Okay.
And even after it was barely over the minimum qualification of wind speed. So the thing is, typhoons need a lot of air above it to kind of feed into it and get that, like, the eye of the storm, the swirling going.
Right.
However, good news and bad news for us. There's been this high pressure front that's been pushing down on the Korean Peninsula for, the entire summer, which is why we keep getting this heat wave that's not breaking, but also at the same time, which is why typhoons cannot grow past a certain size. So a bit of a good news and bad news. However, even now it's been downgraded to a tropical depression, it is still affecting the weather, bringing a lot of rain and winds, especially to the eastern side of the storm, which happens to be the western coast of the country. So thankfully, no human casualties have been reported so far. However, we are seeing reports of various property damage. For instance, a 3-ton fishing vessel capsized off of Gosong in Gyeongnam. However, thankfully, the 4 crew members were immediately rescued. Also, for just minor issues, the Lotte Giants versus Kia Tigers baseball game that was supposed to take place at the Kia Stadium, that's been canceled.
Yes.
Also, Jeju Airport had 145 delays and 1 cancellation, and that canceled flight was supposed to come to Kimhae. So some of our neighbors may have been affected by that.
I see. Well, thanks for explaining what's going on with 종다리. We've talked about how the typhoon won't help with breaking the heat. Yes. On top of that, it may also negatively affect the energy supply.
Right. So 종다리 is bringing this massive humidity. I mean, just entire country feels like a sauna, which of course encourages AC usage. But it's actually cutting down Honam region's solar energy production as well. So because it is and still was affecting the western coast most severely, Honam region or the
Right.
southwestern region of the country, it casts this large band of rain clouds over that particular area. However, Honam also happens to be where the country's biggest solar panel complexes are located. So it's a
Right.
major solar energy production, accounting for about 40% of all such facilities. So authorities estimate that solar power generation has gone down by about 10% in the peak times. So that's affecting the energy supply. Also, on top of that, private users. So I know some people who live in standalone houses that have solar panels on top of their roofs. Well, the thing is, when their self-sustainable electricity generation via solar panels runs low, then they have to tap into the central energy system
Yes.
and purchase electricity from the general market. So that leads to further demand on top of lower supply. So supply and
Yes.
demand issues. And then on top of that, we're seeing incredibly high demand to begin with, private usage and industrial usage. So officially, as of at 6 p.m. on Monday, we broke the official record for electricity demand at 95.6 gigawatts. And then tentatively, we're due to break that record again at 97.1 gigawatt at 5 p.m. yesterday.
I see. Okay. So definitely not great news.
No.
Yes. All right. Let's move on, though, for our next item. We're going to talk about a North Korean soldier who apparently defected to South Korea yesterday, correct?
Right. So yesterday, a North Korean soldier crossed the land border within the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. And the South Korean military apparently detected the soldier from the north of the military demarcation line, or the MDL, and they conducted an operation to help him safely arrive in the south. And this often happens. They usually keep an eye on any movements north of the border. So according to the Joint Chiefs, the soldier is reportedly a staff surgeon. And this has been happening despite North Korea having been strengthening its anti-defection measures in the DMZ.
Yes.
So the South Korean authorities have noticed that the North has been burying landmines at heavy cost of its own military personnel. They've been exploding, and there have been heavy casualties reported from the personnel who's been burying them.
I see, but it seems like these defections we've been hearing about them, I guess, more frequently frequently?
Right. So just 12 days ago on August 8th, a North Korean civilian this time crossed the water border at via Gyeodongdo Island on Gangwon, but when the water actually goes out in low tide, there's a strip of land that's exposed. So this
Yes.
person just kind of walked over. So looking at the larger trend, there was actually a steep, we're going to go back actually decades. There was a steep increase in defections between the late 1990s and the late 2000s. And that was due to severe economic crisis in North Korea at the time. However, when current leader Kim Jong-un came into power, that figure actually decreased just to zero, basically. Zero defections between 2020 and 2022. Of course, we have to factor that as the COVID years when cities and counties were just completely shut down. However, Kim Jong-un also had strong crackdowns and still has strong crackdowns against defection. So much so that the authorities in North Korea apparently control how much fuel goes into fishing vessels to make sure that they just have enough for fishing work and not enough to cross over to the south.
I see.
And then because wooden fishing boats, because they're smaller, they go undetected under the radar. So
Yes.
they have actually been destroying, burning down, or even just physically breaking down the fishing boats, which has been to the disastrous desperation of usually poorer fishermen who use these smaller boats.
Right.
But then even this, despite this vigilance, some do manage to filter through the crackdown system. Another notable matter, who has been defecting? The elites. And that's been definitely notable.
Yes.
So apparently this is also has to do with COVID. After the pandemic ended and borders reopened, the regime has been cracking down against those who lived abroad during the pandemic years. So we're talking about diplomats and usually the country's elite
Right.
to kind of realign their ideology. And that has not been taken well with the population. And then lastly, how South Korea has been responding to these defection efforts. So of course, South Korea keeps its eyes on the borders with its advanced technology. And if any movement is detected and the individuals are suspected to be civilians, they actually don't have any military responses and we do help them cross over.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's the latest in this defection story and, of course, the overall outlook. Well, let's talk about our last story. South Korea is rapidly heading towards this, obviously, super aging society. And this is evident even in large corporations, it seems.
Right. So this is where our text topic comes from because in your workplace, you may have noticed depending on your age, but a lot more older superiors versus fewer younger recruits coming in. So this is according to a corporate analysis firm Leaders Index. They looked at the age breakdown of the top 140 corporations in the country. So this would encompass some 1.4 million employees across a 3-year period and the overall age trend.
Okay.
So during this time, the number of employees under 30, so those in their 20s, so that would be your new recruits, that figure decreased by nearly 5 points. But at the same time, number of employees and at that point also executives 50 years and above increased by almost 10%. So there was a huge growth there.
Okay.
So now the older employees outnumber the young under 30 employees in the country's top corporations. And it was actually more prominent depending on what field you looked at. So usually the kind of the tech fields where younger employees would account for a larger percentage, that trend of diminishing younger employees versus existing employees getting older was very prominent. And we're talking about IT, electronics, electricity, as well as secondary battery. And then industries that already weighed heavily towards older employees, the more experienced employees, saw that trend exacerbate as well. So we're talking about food and beverage, shipbuilding, mechanics, construction, transportation, and finance. So overall, the workforce is getting older. This number one, of course, related to just the general country demographics, the population getting older. But at the same time, corporate practices have been changing because usually Korea has this kind of a mass recruit system for the first and the second halves of the year,
Sure.
where you do get this huge influx of, younger employees going in. That's been happening less and less, and workplaces are kind of having this constant hiring and recruitment, and that does gear towards more for experienced workers, which of course is tougher for the younger employees where, I do remember when I was like a employee with no experience trying to get a job. Job postings say like experience preferred. I'm like, if you won't hire me, where am I supposed to get that experience? And that's really happening
true.
across the entire population.
On the other hand, though, for people who might be older or there might be like a work gap,
Right,
that
right.
might be something a little positive.
Definitely. So, of course, ups and downs to both
Yes.
sides, but that's what's been happening.
All right. That's a snapshot. Well, thank you for going over all the top news stories. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And for now, we're going to get into our first song. This is Into the Unknown by Panic at the Disco.
Into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown. I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble, while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away. Oh. You're not a voice, you're just the ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, I'm spoken for, I fear. Everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm sorry, secret siren, but I'm blocking out your calls. I've had my adventure, I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown. You've been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me, who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be? Every day's a little harder as I feel your power grow. Don't you know there's part of me that longs to go into the unknown? Into the unknown.
So who was singing along to that? I hope you guys all were. All right, back to our main story at hand. We have been having a busy summer with millions visiting the beaches here in Busan. I actually just went to Gwangan Beach. Was it a few days back before it started raining? Do you know that they have this cool thing? They have like a jumbo screen, like a jumbotron, and you take like a little photo, and then they have like the little bubble thing. So you take like a selfie of yourself, of your family, and then they actually have a screen, and then you can see the selfie that you took of your family, and it shows like little bubbles on the screen. It's really cute. So if you haven't tried that, I would highly recommend it. There's many things to do at Gwangan Beach, by the way. And when the weather cools down in the fall, you can look forward to over a dozen festivals coming up in early October. And Busan City has dubbed the first week of October Festival October, where 17 international events will be held throughout the city. And during this time, some 450 tourists are expected to come to Busan as it coincides with China's national holiday. And of course, this also means a lot of preparations in terms of safety, transportation, and making sure that people aren't getting overcharged at hotels and restaurants. Busan City is going to hold checkups over various facets, including things like pricing, sanitation, and transportation. As they say, the more the merrier. And we certainly have no lack of festivals this fall, and we'll have to use the next month or so to fully prepare so that we do create this massive synergy effect we need for our city. And think about it. When we have all these festivals, that means our restaurants, our, hotels, all the accommodations industry. I mean, it has such a great effect on so many logistics, the surrounding industries. It's so great for our city. Anyhow, back to our text topic. It's all about personal relationships. Do you feel more comfortable with someone who is older versus someone who is younger than you? So this can be in any type of relationship. So whether it's at work, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a romantic relationship. 자, 나는 인간관계에 나보다 어린 사람 vs 나이 든 사람 중 어느 쪽이 더 편하다. 그래서 뭐 일관계, 뭐 연애관계도 되고요. 친구관계, 그런 거 다 됩니다. So, I am curious as to what you guys think. And by the way, I love the fact that you have this little mini competition going between the waivers, among the waivers of who gets to say hi first. I love that. I love that you guys are eager to greet each other and me and all, everybody in the morning. And let's see. I'm picking through your. Okay, so looking at Leslie's message, she says that she is the oldest in her friends group. So she says, I am always the person they come to with their problems or need big sister advice. As the oldest, it would be nice to have an older friend that I could go to. Oh, so Leslie, you're like the big 언니 or big 누나. And you would like to have someone like that to go to for advice. Oh, I see. So that's a interesting one. For me personally, real quick before I get to a hot clip, I think I tend to have a lot of younger people around me, whether it be not just work, but even for some of my acquaintances here in Korea, slightly, just like a year or two. Some of them are slightly younger than me. But in my, I don't know, romantic relationships, let me think about that one. All right, let's get to our hot clip for today. For today's hot clip, I'm going to cover the Democratic National Convention Night 1. It just kicked off, and we did cover the Republican National Convention, so I want to give you a balanced view. So on Night 1, it was star-studded. I'm going to let you listen to the clip, and then we'll discuss.
Kick us off by celebrating our incredible President Joe Biden. Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you.
I've got 5 months left of my presidency. I've got a lot to do. I intend to get it done. It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more. She's tough, she's experienced, and she has enormous integrity. Enormous integrity. Her story represents the best American story. And like many of our best presidents, she was also vice president. In 2024, we need you to vote. We need you to keep the Senate. We need you to win back the House of Representatives. And above all, We need you to beat Donald Trump.
Joe and I know Kamala. We have seen her courage, her determination, and her leadership up close. Kamala and Tim, you will win.
Kamala has the character, experience, and vision to lead us forward. So it is no surprise, is it, that he is lying about Kamala's record? He's mocking her name and her laugh. Sounds familiar. But we have him on the run now. On the other side of that glass ceiling is Kamala Harris raising her hand and taking the oath of office as our 47th President of the United States.
So that was a clip from NBC News. And so you heard many voices and you saw some of the photos that our producer put up. So Joe Biden obviously spoke, as did Jill Biden as well. In the clip you didn't hear, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also spoke up, as did Hillary Clinton. And Kamala Harris, she was actually, usually what happens is on the final night, it's kind of the coronation, the presentation of Kamala Harris, but she actually did speak on night one. That was a big surprise as well. It's kind of the passing of the torch from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris. That was night one of the DNC 2024. Your hot clip for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
우리 지금 리안 씨랑 저랑 좀 no. Leon's in the house for #FactChecked. And how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes. So for our text topic, we're talking about our text topic off air. Personal relationships. Do you feel more comfortable with someone who is older or younger than you? What do you say?
I say, given my friends,
Yes.
they're very old. It's because I got married young and I'm meeting my kids' moms. So one of my two closest friends is 10 years older than me. And one of is 띠동갑, is 12 years older than me. So
Are they the ones that live on not on the
the
same
one
floor?
on the same floor is 10 years older than me.
Right.
And the other one, she was really close to me, but she went to Seoul, is 12 years older than me. So
Right.
I
so
think I
age
can
is just a number.
I think I can definitely say if I meet someone and I ask their age and they're like, I'm quite old, and I'm like, oh, I'm so comfortable with that.
Oh, you're okay with that?
I'm
Yeah.
okay. Because I've been forced to get used to it because that's just the type of people that's been around me.
Because of your marital status.
Yes, but I've come to really enjoy having older friends because there's much to learn. Yeah, and they
interesting.
teach me lots of things. And
Right.
So
I do have
that
a
is
question for you.
Yes.
What do you think of the whole idea? Because our waivers have been talking about this, and I think it's very interesting. The whole idea of your significant other, aka your roommate, aka your husband, thinking of you as mom, because like there's this whole discussion about like if you know your husband thinks of you, or whenever a waiver said, oh, just think of your wife as your mom, like just listen to her. 하란 대로 like
They want their wives to these husbands prefer their wives to be like a mother
따라서
figure.
하라고, like, you know, just listen to your wife like you would listen to your mom.
Oh no, I would hate that. The biggest fights that I have with my husband is when I tell him I'm not your mom.
Like 사고치고 미안하다 하고 잘못했어. 맨날 혼난다고 해요. Like, you know, so but would you want to be thought of as like
No.
Oh, me too. I would never want to be done.
사고치고 혼나는 거는.
사고
엄마가
치지
아니야?
마세요. 사고 치지 마세요. 사과할 일을 안 만들어야죠. 예.
그리고 엄마는
엄마는
아니죠.
아니에요. 예. We don't want to be your mother.
Yeah, I've
That's your
already-
mother job.
Yeah.
We
I want to be a kid too sometimes.
And not only that.
당신이
우리는
아빠
기대고
해주세요.
싶죠.
그럼.
네. 우리한테 오빠가
I was
돼야죠.
나도 몰라 아빠 이러면서.
오빠가 돼야지. 우리 무슨 엄마. Anyways, what's our topic for today?
Yes, on a totally different note.
Okay.
So it's still summer.
Yes.
And, drinking lots of water is important.
Okay.
But this is a thing that I've been doing recently, which I got curious about this topic, is I make these water detox drinks at home.
At home,
Which
you
is
do?
super easy. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I just put in like cucumber, lemon, mint in just 2-liter water bottles and then
Right.
just let it sit in the fridge. But so have you ever tried making these water detox?
I remember a long time ago, it was kind of a thing, an in thing, the Beyonce lemon cayenne pepper detox thing.
Oh,
It was years ago.
Yes. It
was a
and
thing.
What was your purpose for doing it?
I don't know. They said it was good for you. It was like a detox to get all the toxins out of your body. I don't know if it was that or if it was a diet thing. It was years ago.
Okay, and you
It was a
actually
fad.
carried out the whole diet.
No, I did it for
Did you
3
say
days.
taste?
I did it for 3 days. And I was just
물렸죠.
like, after 3 days, I was just like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, they were like, don't eat anything.
Yes, that is exactly what I want to talk about
Oh,
today.
really?
Is that healthy? Is it really the right way to
No.
detox? And so because a lot of people do detox water. So for
Yes.
people who still don't really know what this is, it's basically just water infused with flavors using fresh fruits, vegetables, or herbs.
Right.
Many people do it like you to detoxify their body, get rid of the toxins, or kind of just improve their energy levels, or
Yes.
also mainly though to lose weight. So it's kind of like a diet, right? While some people drink it as they also drink it as a health supplement. There are also better known ones that are like lemon detox water, where
Sure.
people kind of go several meals on a row without eating or drinking anything but that
Right.
detox water. So I actually want to fact check today whether doing that kind of actions with these detox
Is
water
it okay?
does it actually help with weight
Right.
loss? Because it's quite painful, right? So the answer is that there is no scientific evidence that shows that drinking detox water will directly lead to weight loss. Drinking water in general, but however, has been proven that it helps you lose weight.
Yes.
So water has been shown to temporarily raise your metabolic rate. So you do burn more calories when you're drinking more water.
Okay.
So there are definitely lots of benefits of drinking more water. So according to the National Library of Medicine, drinking half a liter of water can increase your metabolic rate by up to 30% for about an hour.
Oh, really?
So that's quite of a big percentage. I was
Yes.
surprised. And actually, people drink the recommended amount of water as part of weight loss program tend to lose more weight than those who don't. There's also one interesting study published in the National Library of Medicine, which found that overweight adults who drank half a liter of water before their meals, before each of their meals, lost 40% more weight than those who didn't.
Ooh.
So this can be partially explained by, again, the rise in metabolism, but also it may be due to the fact that, if you drink lots of water before you have your meal, you kind of lose your appetite as well. So drinking water has been linked to reduce hunger. So you may eat less, but as for the ingredients that contain in the detox water,
Sure.
it doesn't do much to, directly help with weight loss. It's kind of just the act of drinking water itself, how much and when that matters, that actually helps with weight loss.
I get it though, because just like anecdotally, like when I drink a lot of water,
Yes.
it makes me full.
It does make you full.
It makes you full.
물배차다 is where
물배차다,
that
and then you feel
come
like,
from.
oh, I'm full. I can't eat that much.
Right.
So I can see why you know, for like looking at these studies, like you might eat less because you're full.
Right.
'cause you just drank a ton of water.
Of course.
So you're gonna, shove less down your throat, right?
Yes.
Right. So generally speaking, you're saying water is helpful, but what about the whole getting rid of the toxins aspect?
Yeah.
Because like that's
whole
what like all the
detox.
Gwyneth Paltrows in the world, they all say like, oh, it's getting rid of the toxins and all
Right.
that. Is it really true? Does it actually detoxify our body?
Yes. So the short answer for that there is no. Again.
okay.
So according to the National Center
So disappointing.
So according to the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, they say there is no evidence to suggest that detox diets can remove toxins from the body or have any noticeable health benefits. The thing about detox diet is that the diet is highly restrictive and extremely low calorie, right? The body will not receive the supply of the nutrients and energy it needs to function correctly.
Yes.
This includes removing toxins in your body. So doing this detox water diet, it does not contain any fiber, as we all know. Fiber plays an essential role in digestion. And without the fiber, the large intestine, it cannot do what it's supposed to do, which is remove toxins and waste products from the body. So solely depending on detox water as main part of your diet will actually deter your body from carrying out its natural instinct to detox. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually deterring your body.
It's countering it's what it's supposed to do. So it's not good for you, actually.
It is not good for you.
Oh, no. Okay. So it's pretty clear that now a detox water or whatever these people are touting, it's actually negative. It's not good for you. You shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
So it's not just the ingredients, but maybe just like, I don't know, drinking the water itself, though, is positive.
It is positive.
Drinking enough water.
Right. It will help you with weight loss and, so on. And so the main takeaway today is just, let's just not expect so much from drinking just detox water. But I personally, even doing this research, I'm going to continue to make them at home. Just because for me, it just helps me drink more water.
No, I agree though.
Right?
I agree.
When you open we all know the importance of drinking water.
I agree.
How oftentimes do you mentally think to yourself, oh, I didn't drink 2 liters of water today. So let me just... So when I open the refrigerator and I see like bottles of clear water bottles with like cucumber and lemon and mint, I just gulp it down because it's refreshing,
rather
especially
than
during
just
the summer.
The plain water.
Right.
I know.
Why are you feeling so guilty as you?
No, because I am
don't
in the
drink
same
water,
boat
right?
because I don't drink enough water.
Yes.
And like my family members tell me every day drink more water. I'm like, I do. So what and by the way, do you know that like when you're at a restaurant, you should never ask for wedges of lemon because they don't wash the lemon.
Oh, with baking soda and stuff?
They don't wash the lemon.
Oh, they just cut it up and put it in there?
That's what they say. They've tested the lemon at the restaurant.
Oh, there was like a research done.
Yeah, and they say most of the lemons, they don't wash them thoroughly.
Right.
So if you're going to drink lemon water, do it at home.
Do it at home.
Because with the baking soda,
scrub it.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
So after I read that, I was just like, not going to ask for that wedge of lemon anymore.
Oh, you actually ask for it?
Yeah, sometimes so I'll drink more water. So it's good enough to squeeze on like, let's say tacos because you're squeezing the juice
out of the
But when you're putting
fruit.
the whole wedge, it's like 겉에 the outside.
농약 마시는 기분. I
now
think
we
that
know.
is happening.
Yes.
So do I have enough time to recommend our listeners my favorite?
Real quick. Yes.
Okay, just one.
Yes.
Do this. Try this. It's super easy. Cinnamon
Let's try.
sticks in the water. Have you ever tried that?
No.
It actually tastes really nice.
Cinnamon sticks.
So if you
What do you do?
just water and just buy, the cinnamon sticks that you can buy online. Just stick them into the water and then let it just still for like half a day.
Half a day?
You would be surprised to find that it tastes like cinnamon, but it also has a very sweetness to it.
Ooh.
So my mother-in-law gave it to me and I was like, Mom, did you put in like sugar in it? Because it's so sweet. And she's like, it's just naturally, that's the flavor. And we all know the health benefits of cinnamon.
Right.
So if you guys like it, try it. It's super easy.
I'm going to try that one. That's a great one.
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you so much, Lian.
Yep.
All right. And I got to read this one while you're here.
Okay.
And then Tommy says, sometimes 가끔 집에서 숨만 쉬어도 혼나요.
타미님 사고 많이 치신 거 아니에요?
And then Haley said, breathe more quietly then.
Oh, that was so like true. 숨도 쉬지 마.
We're going to end it with this one. Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles. I'll be back at 8.
I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out. like strawberries on a summer evening. Baby, you're the end of June. I want your belly and that summer feeling, getting washed away in you. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar high, 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 watermelon sugar high. I just wanna taste it, I just wanna taste it, watermelon sugar high. Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want your belly and that summer feeling. I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar high, 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 watermelon sugar high.
Your Bridge to the World. BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
다운이 삶은 갈치 플러스. 닦고 닦고 또 닦은 수건은 가운데에서 냄새가.
그래서 모서리로 닦아요.
새로운 다운이는 삶은 것 같은 탈취 효과로 30번 닦아도 계속
상쾌해.
다운이 삶은 갈치 플러스.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃 축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다 축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제까지. 부산의 축제는 우리의 열정을 가득 담고 있습니다. 바쁜 일상은 잠시 뒤로 하고 특별한 시간을 선물 받는 바로 이곳 부산에서 우리의 삶은 축제가 됩니다. 축제로 하나 되는 부산, 여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BFM 부산 영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Hola, I am Rafael Salardi, a Peruvian living in Busan for 20 years now. After living in Peru, I fell in love with Korean culture, so I decided to move to Busan. I like feeling the warm sunrise at the beaches in Busan on sunny days. A cup of coffee while looking at the sea in the coffee city Busan reminds me of the Andes Mountains, a famous coffee producer in Peru. The reason why I like Busan more than anything else is the people. Even though I was not good at Korean, everyone treated me with kindness and friendliness. I really appreciate those who are so nice to me. I want to live happily ever after in Busan for a long, long time. Gracias, Busan. Global City Busan, we are all in it together. This campaign was brought to you by BEFM Busan 영어 방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded. What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock. This is News Highlights. Typhoon Jongdari weakened to tropical depression. Jongdari, the ninth typhoon of the season, has weakened to a tropical depression around 9 p.m. last night in the southeastern seas of Heusan-do Island. But it is still bringing heavy rain and strong winds as it travels along the western coast. Between 30 and 80 millimeters of rain is forecast across the country, with downpours of up to 100 millimeters expected along some coastal and mountainous areas. The typhoon caused over a dozen vehicle floodings in Ulsan and sediment discharge at an industrial complex in Yangsan. No casualties have been reported. New justice named to Constitutional Court. The Supreme Court has nominated Seoul High Court Judge Kim Bok-hyung as a new justice of the Constitutional Court. If appointed following a parliamentary hearing, Kim will replace outgoing Justice Lee Eun-ae, who will retire next month. The Supreme Court said Kim comes with near 30 years of judicial experience with a deep understanding of the law and excellent trial ability. Kim's pending appointment will keep the number of female justices on the Constitutional Court's 9-person bench at 3. DP accuses Presidential Office of Interference in Drug Smuggling Probe. A parliamentary committee yesterday held a hearing into allegations that the presidential office interfered in a probe into a large-scale drug smuggling case to cover up the involvement of customs officials. South Korean customs officials allegedly helped Malaysian smugglers bring methamphetamine into the country via Incheon International Airport last year. Democratic Party lawmakers said that the then head of the police investigation team, Baek Hae-ryong, clearly heard the word Yongsan, referring to the presidential office, in his phone talks with the former chief of Yeongdeung-po Police, Kim Chan-soo, which Kim denied. Doctors Group denounces government's license plans for general practitioners. The Korean Medical Association, or KMA, denounced the government's plans to consider introducing a license system for general practitioners, claiming the government is preventing doctors who are immediately needed from going on the scene. The health ministry yesterday said that it may adopt a system whereby those who graduate medical school can work as a general practitioner after completing clinical training. Under the current system, those who acquire the state medical license after completing medical school can work as a general practitioner. Japanese Prime Minister considering visit to South Korea in September. Outgoing Japanese leader Fumio Kishida is considering visiting South Korea early next month and holding a summit with President Yoon Suk-yeol, Japanese media reported. Kishida decided not to run for the Liberal Democratic Party leadership, thereby stepping down as prime minister. He is said to be hoping to go over the South Korea-Japan bilateral relations and reaffirm continued cooperation. An official from Yongsan said that Yoon is open to meeting Kishida anytime, but the prospects remain undecided. And this was News Highlights. It's now time for Waggle Waggle. Haley's back in the studio.
Hello, hello.
All right, our first issue. This is back in the news. The roundhouse kick assailant apparently plotting revenge against the victim. What is
right,
this?
so this Busan 돌려차기 case.
Yes.
He is back. So this assailant, this is the guy who followed the victim into her building here in Busan, brutally beat her and tried to rape her. So the defendant, E, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for attempted rape and murder.
Right.
But separately, he's undergoing trial right now for coercion, threatening, or blackmailing the victim and other inmates as well. So during the course of this trial, multiple inmates from the prison came to testify at Busan Regional Court yesterday.
Right.
So according to one witness, E basically boasted that he was a part of organized crime mob, this Chilsung group, the infamous group here, and he used that to allegedly coerce other inmates. Witnesses also testified that he vowed to get revenge on the victim, where they quoted him as saying, and this may be a trigger alert, he will kill the victim and rape her when he gets out.
Oh my goodness.
By the way, because this is 20 years, he will still be in his late 40s when he gets out, or late 50s, so fairly young, unfortunately. The same witness told the court that he gave out personal details of the victim that he found out during the course of the first trial, which that was a whole controversy that the victim was not protected against her assailant, including the name and age of the victim to the other inmates. And he also claimed that he only, quote unquote, hit her 6 times, but got 12 years in the first trial, basically saying that he got 2 years for every punch that he threw, and said something along the lines of, it must be nice to be a woman. Which, but let's just say once again, he's serving 20 years for attempted rape and murder. So the guy is obviously not repenting.
Obviously not.
Oh, by the way, and he did submit multiple letters of repentance during the initial trial. So
this is why I don't believe personally, in my humble opinion, personally, of those letters of repentance that they're allowed to submit into court.
Because, I mean, those are words. Those are definitely
just
words, and obviously is not showing them through action. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on because we can't really comment. All right, next, deepfake is becoming more and more of a problem. And there's been a large-scale sexual exploitation chat room unveiled using deepfake again.
Right, so this has become a problem time and time again, and we have a couple sources related to this. So number one, the Incheon Police Cyber Crimes Unit has launched an investigation into this Telegram chat room where the perpetrators allegedly used deepfake technology to superimpose faces of people, especially female university students, onto lewd content and share them the photos and videos via the chat room. So there are 4 victims identified so far. More may come, and some of them are still in college. So the chat has been in operation since 2020, and it has over 1,000 members. The perpetrators also shared the person's personal information of the victims, including their phone number. So how the victims came to know about this is because apparently some of the chat room's members used that phone number to contact them and blackmail them.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Hey, I have naked pictures of you, which are not, by the way. So that's how they came to know about it and notify the police.
Yes.
So one participant of the chat, actually 2, they've been passed on to the prosecution. They've been identified for redistributing the videos, but the police are trying to track down the identity of the ringleader, people who actually created the content in the first place. However, this is Telegram. It's an overseas chat room, overseas chat application, and they're notoriously don't share their user information.
Yes, and there was another case of deepfake sexual exploitation, and this time involving a middle school student.
Involving multiple middle school students, both the victims and the perpetrators. So, and that happened, unfortunately, right here in Haeundae, in Busan. So Busan police have launched an investigation into a Haeundae area middle school. Same types of crimes of superimposing, this time students, they're minors, their faces, and even a teacher's face onto lewd images and videos. There have been 18 victims identified so far. 4 students have been identified as suspects. But here's the thing. When both victims and perpetrators are minors, we do have a concept of a criminal minor. So they don't get passed on for a criminal investigation, and it falls within the realm of schools. And of course, they can be tried in juvenile court. But the school, the education office actually, has already convened a school violence assessment committee. And the 4 perpetrators have been given a level 5 response, which only includes 5 hours of special education for both the students and the parents.
What?
They're not suspended. If they were in the same classes, they are still in the same school and classes as the victims.
So they weren't even expelled, like removed from the school?
5 hours.
5 hours?
So, which is ridiculous. I mean, I know that nothing was physically done to the victims, but I mean, and I know that's not like their bodies that were, but this is a sexual crime. This is a sexual crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
and
illegal.
The mental, and these are 14, 15, 16-year-old girls who now have fake images of their bodies circulating, and we know nothing ever disappears on the internet. So
this could be forever.
Right. So the parents of the victims said that this is basically a slap on the wrist, if that, and called for more severe measures, including separating the victims and the perpetrators, at least.
I mean, I would not even stop at that. I mean, I would say they need to be moved to a different school.
Being extremely generous, I also understand that the perpetrators are 14, 15, and 16 and whatever.
But they're old enough to know.
It is society, teachers, parents' responsibility as adults to educate them on what you might think is like a victimless crime is not. But at the same time, we as adults, society, parents, teachers have a responsibility to protect the victims.
But not at the same school.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Not at the same school.
In the same classroom. I mean,
that stigma is going to last forever with those victims, though. I mean, okay. Moving on. There is another rather odd deepfake case where Donald Trump, who implied that I saw this and I said,
at least laugh about this one.
This one, we need to because where he got the endorsement supposedly of one of the world's biggest pop stars, and as soon as I saw this, and I thought, really?
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't, and she really thought that?
Repeatedly said
no.
Yeah,
she does not.
They
like
don't
him.
like each other. And who am I talking about? Taylor Swift, the Taylor Swift.
Yes,
who has been an outspoken Democrat, if not just a Democratic candidate supporter, and she has been a critic of Trump multiple times.
Yes.
He has been a critic of Swift too.
Oh, yes.
But Trump recently posted images that have been screen grabbed from other social media accounts that make it look like Taylor Swift and her fans, Swifties, support Trump. And we reposted these pictures and we're going to throw them up with the words, "I accept," as, implying that they endorse him. So number one, we see the kind of the Uncle Sam homage picture of Taylor wants you to vote for, and the cutoff part says vote for Donald Trump. And then we see other Swifties wearing T-shirts that say Swifties for Trump. So yeah, they are deep-faked. They are not real. So these images are from X, formerly Twitter. They were originally posted by these right-wing accounts that have a history of sharing misinformation.
I see.
By the way, Swift has not endorsed anyone for the 2024 election. However, she has a history of backing Democrats 4 years ago, not just Biden, but others running for the House and the Senate. She has been repeatedly critical of Trump while he was in office and his policies. Her fans have also accused Trump and the campaign of spreading misinformation.
Yes.
So let's just be crystal clear that Trump is not the person, nor his campaign, created these images. However, it does spread concern. It does raise concerns about misinformation and fake news coming right from the candidate himself. Because previously he has also shared AI-generated images of Kamala Harris holding a communist military rally at the Democratic National Convention, as well as a deepfake video of him dancing with Elon Musk. I mean, Musk has endorsed him, but still. So while Musk might take that in a more humorous manner, others might not. So.
And we don't want to spread misinformation, especially with, young, impressionable voters out there.
Right. And I mean, we are looking at the case in the UK where misinformation on social media has led to bloody rampages and riots across the country.
Exactly.
So we're constantly fighting misinformation, especially when it comes to elections. So it is concerning when the top candidate is a source of such misinformation.
Indeed. All right, we need to end it on a positive note. A few Olympic medalists have been made spokesmodels for ad campaigns, and their behavior definitely, tell me it's a good one.
It's a good one.
Okay, gold medal level?
Yes,
okay,
gold medal level. So, table tennis bronze medalist Shin Yubin,
Love her.
Iyagi, the nation's younger sister. She also made headlines with her snacking in the middle of between
So
sets,
adorable. Yes.
including eating a banana. So she has been hired as a spokesmodel for Pingure, which makes banana-flavored milk. And then she donated 100 million won of her model fees to charity.
Really?
So that's 1억 won. And it turns out, and this is I don't know her personally, but it seems very fitting to her character. She first asked the corporation before she signed the deal, is it okay for me to donate parts of my fees to charity? And the corporation was like, well, it's your money. Like, well, yeah, why are you asking us? And then she said she didn't want that particular article or the press release to overshadow the campaign.
I see.
Right, so she just wanted to clear everything. And also the press release initially said that she donated parts of her ad campaign revenue, but the company actually backtracked and clarified that, by the way, that amount she donated, 100 million won, is most of the fees that she got. So they were, clearly they love her to step forward and say that.
Yes.
And then even before, when Shin first got her paycheck from her Korean Air team, by the way, she's still a teenager, so she was a teenager, she donated 6 million won worth of shoes to a Suwon area children's charity and donated all 10 million won of her winnings from the World Championship back in May of last year to World Vision.
Can we call her 언니?
Yeah, we should. I mean, we say 멋있으면 다 언니.
Right.
Her character is far beyond mine, older, more mature, more commendable. And then also, quote unquote, the killer silver medalist, Kim Ye-ji, also donated 5 million won to a project that supports seniors who live alone. She posted this on her social media saying that she had been looking for a way to kind of pay back for all the love and support she received during the Olympics.
Right.
Andrew talked about her getting an agent to maybe make some pop culture appearances to really raise a profile of her sport, of sharpshooting. She's also been signed on for a one-time ad campaign for Louis Deng, LV.
Yes.
They were a sponsor of the Paris Olympics, and they're currently running a campaign involving some major Olympic athletes, and she is definitely a major Olympic athlete.
Right, they were the sponsor because they were for the medals and housing the cases.
They created
for the medals.
Yeah, they designed the case. Yes.
Oh, there she is.
I mean, she's also she's younger than me. She's also
cool.
언니.
Right. Well, she is cool. 다 언니들이에요.
Right? Super cool.
Well, thank you for ending it on a positive note because there was such negative news today. Well, we're going to check in with you tomorrow, Haley. Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right. Well, it's back to you, the listeners, for our updated traffic and weather. It's time for your updated traffic right now. It's looking a little slow on the Gwangan Bridge from the bridge going toward the Taeyeon overpass right now. Congested on Gwanmun-daedo from Pangnam Tunnel to Baekyang Tunnel as well. And it's backed up on Gayadero from Kaegum intersection to Jure intersection as well. It's currently 28 degrees Celsius and raining in parts of the city. The rain, it's going to continue throughout the day. Expected to end by late afternoon. You can expect a high of around 32 today. It will be similar across the country as we are still under the influence of tropical depression Dongdari with heavy rain forecast for the capital area, Gangwon and the central regions. This was your traffic and weather. And this is 밥만 잘 먹더라 by 오무.
한순간뿐이더라 밥만 잘 먹더라 죽는 것도 아니더라 눈물은 묻어둬라 당분간은 일만 하자 죽을 만큼 사랑한 그녀를 알았단 그 사실에 감사하자 일 말하면 뭐해 돌릴 수 없는데 괜히 아픈 가슴만 다시 들춰내서 뭐해 쓸데없게 태어나서 딱 3번만 울게 허락된다는데 괜히 허튼 일들에 아까운 눈물 낭비 말자 친구들과 술 한잔 정신없이 취하련다 다 잊게 미워한다고 뭐 달라지나 그냥 사랑할게 단지 볼 수 없잔 걸 견딜 만큼만 생각할게 사랑이 떠나가도 가슴에 멍이 들어도 한순간뿐이더라 밥만 잘 먹더라 죽는 것도 아니더라 눈물은 묻어둬라 당분간은 일만 하자 죽을 만큼 사랑한 그녀를 알았단 그 사실에 감사하자 바람이 지나간다 시리게 나를 울린다 억지로 참아봐도 자꾸 목이 메여 네 이름을 불러본다 잊혀도 못 잊겠다 너를 지울 수가 없다 남자답게 웃으며 보내야 하는데 자꾸만 난 울고 있다
Welcome back, everybody. Let's go over our text topic one last time before we get into our special interview. So today we've been talking about personal relationships, whether you prefer or whether you feel more comfortable with someone who is older than you or younger than you. And so looking at some of your responses, for example, Lee Kelly Waver says, don't care about age. It's their level of maturity that's important. That is true. the maturity level, that is very true. But generally speaking, I was wondering about whether, you prefer somebody older or younger. Tommy says, most of my bosses are older than me, so not compatible at work. So I'm assuming he means he prefers people, at least at work, who are younger than he is. And there was a lot of talk about today, just generally speaking, a lot about like married life in jest. I know you guys were kidding, or at least I hope you were. And I hope we didn't alienate any of our non-married listeners. So even if you are not married, yes, please feel free to chime in on any of our discussions in here. All right, we're going to get to our special interview. So I'll be back in just a moment. With Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida stepping down, the focus on this whole South Korean-Japan relationship may be shifting, especially with the impact of the U.S. presidential election that's coming up real soon. And experts suggest that the future of the trilateral cooperation, South Korea, Japan, and the U.S., particularly on North Korea, hinges more on the next U.S. administration than on Japan's new leadership. And the potential rise of anti-Japanese sentiment in South Korea could also influence diplomatic dynamics. Let's find out more about the potential political scenario that might impact the future of South Korea-Japan relations. So we have invited back to the airwaves Professor Kim Byung-ju, former diplomat and affiliate professor at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. Let's say hi to him. Hi, Professor. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Good morning.
Yes. Well, first, this joint statement was adopted on the first anniversary of the Camp David Summit between South Korea, the United States, and Japan. That was on the 18th. And so can you tell us about the reaction in South Korea to this statement, first of all?
The enthusiasts, as they see this joint statement celebrating the one-year anniversary of the, Camp David Declaration, they all say this is the best thing that Korea got in terms of maximizing its security against North Korea's threat and other potential threats against South Korea here. Something that the country has needed for a long time and finally firmly achieved, especially coming after what happened during the previous Moon government, where the bilateral relationship between Seoul and Tokyo got seriously compromised. And, we saw confrontations and escalation of tensions and everything. But finally, last year, we got this trilateral cooperation mechanism. And this is very important because before this, it used to be more bilateral, like Washington, Seoul, Tokyo, Seoul, Tokyo, Washington.
Yes.
And this collection of bilateral, it cannot be as strong as the trilateral. All three countries coming together, doing things together, such as military exercise, intelligence gathering, and those kind of things. So enthusiasts have been quite, supportive of and excited about what we got last year, and also, 1 year celebration. On the other hand, however, there have been skeptics saying, as you have pointed out, the leaderships are changing. In Tokyo, Kishida is stepping down. In Washington, Biden is leaving. And after that, what's left? What's going to be left here in terms of trilateral cooperation? Is next Prime Minister of Japan going to be as dedicated as the Kishida, as in sympathetic towards Seoul as Kishida has been? Is next President of the United States, whether Trump or Harris, going to be as forthcoming as Joe Biden has been? Skeptics have been raising questions about this, and they're saying this may not be the best arrangement we actually have because it's very sustainable in the faces of the leadership. So the reaction on this side, to be fair about it, has been divided on the list.
Yes. Well, in terms of the security situation on the Korean Peninsula, especially considering President Yoon Suk-yeol's comments on significantly expanding joint military exercises between South Korea and the U.S. What do you make of the significance of this joint statement? What do you think, Professor?
Oh, definitely. In terms of military readiness, Japan's defense capability, their intelligence capability being added up to South Korea's and then United States. And when three countries come together to form three ways of cooperation, there's no question that, the level of, the readiness in terms of defending this country and this part of the world itself reaches the highest level. As a result of last year's declaration and the summit meeting there, we have seen the rise of trilateral meetings of defense ministers and also head of the military, and then the head of the security affairs chiefs, and even the heads of industry ministries, trilateral meetings taking place, and all these ideas were being raised. And as I said, the Freedom Edge, the joint military exercise that's it's going on as we speak, the trilateral defense exercise and everything, we have seen many different kinds of evidence that this has made indeed a significant impact and actually progress going forward in terms of maximizing South Korea's defense capability here. The question is, we are going back to the first question here, is how sustainable this will be in the face of changing leaderships in Tokyo and Washington.
Yes. And so speaking about that leadership, given the fact that Prime Minister Kishida, he has decided not to seek re-election, so effectively stepping down, the impact on the diplomatic efforts ongoing between South Korea and Japan, as we've already mentioned that the relationship had actually improved, the bilateral relationship. What's to become of this? Is it all up in the air now?
The thing is, Japan is very different from United States or South Korea, because they're based on cabinet system. And we know, as we look back for the last several decades, 7 decades, ever since the end of Cold War, and ever since the end of World War II, in fact, it has been Liberal Democratic Party that has been in power most of the time. So, on a macro level, it's difficult to say that change of face of prime minister will bring fundamental shift in the policies, because it's the kind of same people, below prime minister level, like a cabinet level, and then even professionals and systems largely remain in place. Here in Korea, when government changes in recent years, we've seen is even intelligence community, defense community, and even foreign affairs ministry, people getting divided, pointing finger at each other, saying, those guys were working for the previous administration, they are not with us. And that was really sad thing that we've seen taking place in South Korea, especially those people who are in charge of defending this country, securing the safety and survival of this, of the Korean people together. We have seen these professionals in intelligence, foreign affairs, and defense affairs being divided along the political lines. That doesn't happen in Japan. We haven't seen that happening in Japan. And so even if we have a new face, such as Ishiba Shigeru is one of the names that's being talked about, former general secretary of the LDP, and then the former defense minister. He's not going to bring in the fundamental change. Kono Taro is another name. He was a former foreign minister as well as former defense minister. I mean, these guys are all well seasoned in this policy-making areas. They have built experience within the LDP. Yes. And another name, Motegi Toshimatsu, also was a former foreign minister. So, these people, there are a few names like Takaichi Sanae. She used to be the economic security minister, and she has a little bit the view that goes to a little bit closer to the right side of the political spectrum. So she could bring in certain changes. But overall, to answer your question, Japan is different from Korea or United States, where presidential system brings in fundamental change, potentially speaking, in terms of policy directions. But Japan is different. So basically, relatively speaking, the change of prime minister would not bring dramatic changes the way I see it.
And I'm going to switch gears just a little bit, Professor. We have the U.S. presidential election coming up real soon in November. And we don't know yet whether it's going to be Harris or Trump. But if we had to do a comparison, looking at whether a Harris administration or a Trump administration would be incoming, what would it look like, potentially, the relationship between Korea and the U.S.? And also, if we look at the trilateral cooperation as well. I mean, in my eyes, it's going to look quite different. Would it be quite different in your eyes as well, or would it be more of the same?
Considerably different if Trump comes in.
Yes.
Not as much if Harris comes in.
Right.
If Harris becomes the president, I don't see a scenario where fundamental changes will be brought in. Biden has been working very hard on strengthening Washington-Seoul ties, and then also strengthening Seoul-Tokyo ties as well. And so Biden administration's one of the key achievements is actually setting up this trilateral cooperation system. And Harris has been vice president, and largely, I mean, the people will change for sure. People who will be running foreign policies and State Department and Defense Department, people will change. Top leadership will change. But overall mix of the people remain largely the same, or at least sense of direction. So the Harris side, not as much. Trump side, he's talking about a lot of different things, right? It's even possible withdrawal of troops if Korea does not increase its pay to the U.S. for stationing U.S. troops several times and so on. So, and then his posture towards Kim Jong-un and everything. So there could be dramatic differences in Trump when Trump comes in, relatively speaking. However, though, if you ask professionals, there is a limit to that in terms of national security policy and that kind of stuff. So even with Trump, what is it that's going to really bring in dramatic changes? I think a lot of professionals have a lot of doubts about that. The only difference would be Harris, and then with Trump, the two scenarios being compared. With Trump, there will be greater emphasis on this trilateral cooperation, Seoul, Tokyo, and Washington, to focus more on countering China as opposed to countering North Korea at this time. So a slight shift of focus is something that a lot of experts agree. But other than that, dramatic scenarios, they talk about it, but specifics are not there yet.
I see. For a final wrap-up question today, Professor, I would love to hear your kind of gauging of the anti-Japan sentiment in Korea. Do you think that it has changed at all, or do you think that the sentiment has gotten better here in Korea since the Yoon administration has come in, that the sentiment has actually gotten better? What do you think?
I think deep down, if you conduct polls and stuff, I think the attitude has changed because we have younger people who do not have same kind of sentiments and feelings towards Japan as those people in their late 40s or 50s or even 60s.
I see.
So there is a divide in Korean population. And those people in their 50s, the 1980s, those people who went to college during the 1980s, they tend to be the ones who tend to hold the stronger view against Japan here. So change has come, change is still coming, and there will be, different kinds of attitude that will be shown more clearly going forward. The issue is, however, on both sides, conservatives and President Yoon and then progressives, they have to be both careful about thinking about what the national interest is. President Yoon and the conservatives, they should be a little bit more careful in terms of introducing changes that they have in mind. And some of the steps that they have taken recently has caused a lot of controversies. And so that's unfortunate. They should be more subtle in terms of bringing the changes they think is necessary. But at the same time, the progressives, the knee-jerk reaction to everything about the changes of Japan, that's all based on the memories of 80s and then early 90s. I mean, basically during the 80s, the radical progressive generation, when they were in the college, their views of history has not been updated. It's very outdated in the perspective of young people, and young people lose taste. They find it distasteful in the way these older people, older Koreans react to Japan issues that they have been doing for the past several decades. So the progressives, they must change their thinking going forward in order to maximize national interest the way I see it.
I see. Well, thank you so much for coming on air with us and expressing your expertise plus opinions with our waivers. Thank you, Professor. Take care.
Thank you very much.
This was Professor Kim Byung-ju, and as always, and looking at your comments, we do appreciate the expertise of Professor Kim Byung-ju in expressing his opinions and expertise. This was our special interview, and we are going to get to our song break. This is 벌써 1년 by Brown Eyes.
벌써 1년이 너와 만든 기념일마다 슬픈 날을 찾아와 처음 사랑 고백하며 설렌 수줍음과 우리 처음 만난 날 지나가고 너의 생일에 눈물에 케이크 촛불 켜고서 축하해 I believe in you, I believe in your mind. 벌써 1년이 지났지만 1년 뒤에도 그 1년 뒤에도 널 기다려 보고 싶어 돌아와줘 말 못했어 널 보는 따뜻한 그의 눈빛과 네 왼손에 껴진 반지보다 네 얼굴 때문에 I believe in you, I believe in your mind. 다시 시작한 널 알면서 이젠 없이 추억을 만드는 너라는 걸 내가 기억하는 추억은 언제나 지난 웃음과 얘기와 바람들 또 새로 만들 추억은 하나뿐 내 기다림과 눈물 속 Don't believe I don't wanna be with you anymore I believe in you I believe in your mind 다시 시작한 널 알면서 이젠 없이 추억을 만드는 너라 believe in you I believe in your mind 벌써 1년이 지났지만 1년 뒤에도 그 1년 뒤에도 날 기다려
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
It is now time for Skills 101. We have Jennifer in the studio. Good morning.
Hello. We
Yay.
have matching outfit, like matching
I know.
color.
Matching
And our
color.
PD name as well.
I know. Great minds think alike. Right. Right. All right. So, what are we going to tackle today for a topic for Skills 101?
Oh, today's topic is one of my favorites. I've noticed a lot of people are traveling abroad these days, especially with everything opening up again, which is great, which is fantastic. But I've also heard stories about people getting into a bit of trouble because of cultural misunderstandings or just not knowing the etiquette in a different country.
Oh, this is really important. I'm so glad you're covering this because, I mean, it's important to be yourself, but 하지만, however, sometimes, that does not translate well in other cultures. And then you can end up leaving, a bad or wrong impression.
That's right.
And it's not always intentional. And it can get a little awkward, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're diving into, exploring some interesting etiquette from around the world. That's quite different from what we may be used to.
Sure.
So hopefully this will help us navigate those situations better in the future and make our trips even more enjoyable.
Yes. So let's dive into it because a little knowledge can go a long way, especially when it comes to avoiding. We want to avoid those cringe-worthy moments.
Yeah.
Especially abroad, right? Yes.
So let's start with something that might surprise people a bit. In Finland, sauna isn't just for relaxation. It's also a place where a lot of business deals happen. It might seem odd to us, especially the whole idea of discussing work while sweating in a steam room, not dressed. Yeah, but for Finns, it's a casual and comfortable environment. It's where people open up and have more honest conversations.
But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. You're letting down your guard. And it's transparency, literally. You have nothing but a towel. And, maybe Finns value transparency
that's
and
right. That's
trust, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's about breaking down formal barriers.
Yes.
It's an example of how some cultures use their own unique customs to build trust. And it's not just about sweating out your stress, it's about bonding.
Okay. So Finland has its sauna or sauna meetings. But what about something maybe, not so naked, a little bit more familiar? I heard that in Italy, there are very specific rules around a coffee or maybe espresso. We love our coffee, but I mean, for Italians, it's another level, right?
Yeah, that's a different level. Absolutely. Coffee in Italy is almost like a ritual. One rule that often surprises travelers is that ordering a cappuccino after 11 a.m. it's somewhat frowned upon. Yeah, Italians consider milk-based coffee drinks like cappuccino or latte as a morning thing, not afternoon or dinner thing.
Okay.
So plus, if you order a latte in Italy, you would just get a jug of milk because a latte simply means milk in Italian.
Right. So if I'm in Rome and I order a cappuccino, in the evening, somebody might look at me raised eyebrows.
Definitely.
What's wrong with her?
Certainly, yeah. They will probably still serve you, but you might see a raised eyebrow or two. So after a meal, Italians usually go for an espresso, something quick, strong, and light.
Yes, and that's why I cannot live in Rome. I can't handle the caffeine. Okay, so very different from how we might drink it here all day long. And I can see how that could kind of trip up some tourists, right?
Yeah, it's one of those small details that can make a difference. Knowing these little things can help you blend in better and avoid feeling out of place.
Well, I've heard that there's a unique custom around invitations and offers in Iran.
Yeah, you're spot on. There's something called tarof in Italian culture. It's this form of polite refusal or offer. For example, if you're invited to someone's home or they offer you something, it's customary to decline a few times out of politeness. It's a little bit like the old Korean style, right? So even if you actually want to accept it, you gotta decline a few times.
So in Iran, you're supposed to say, no, no,
it's okay.
It's okay. A couple times. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The host will usually insist a couple of times, and then you can finally accept.
Okay.
But if you accept too quickly, it might come off as a rude or overly eager.
Oh, so if I offer you something and then
Oh, thank you.
and I'll think like, if I'm Iranian, I'll think
she's
like,
really eager.
Jennifer's so rude. Oh, she's so
desperate.
eager. Oh, what's wrong with her? She's so rude. Okay, okay.
It can be a little tricky for foreigners because what are we taught? We are often taught to be straightforward in foreign countries. You got to be direct. But in Iran, showing that extra level of politeness is a big part of their social interactions.
Seems like you really have to be aware of like the little nuances, especially when it comes to things like, offers of food and gifts, right?
Yeah. It's all about understanding the context and the unspoken rules that guide how people interact with each other.
Sure. So speaking of unspoken rules, what about somewhere a little closer to home, like Thailand? Because that's like a common spot that, people here in Korea visit.
Attractions.
Yes. So there's like a unique view on certain parts of the body, especially the head, correct?
Yes, in Thailand, the head is considered the most sacred part of the body. So touching someone's head, even just as a friendly gesture, like patting a child's head, it's seen as a disrespectful.
So, actually here in Korea, like if you pat a child's head, it's kind of like affectionate, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
잘했어.
Oh, you're so cute.
예쁘다.
Yeah.
귀여워, right?
In Thailand, it can be seen as offensive, even if it's done to a child.
Oh, even for a child. So it's not just for adults.
No.
Oh, okay. So when in Thailand, just keep your hands to yourself. Don't pet anybody.
That's
like
right.
Don't tap anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Be safe.
So, any last etiquette tips that you can share that people should know about waivers?
I would say one thing is to remember that in many countries, silence is golden.
Silence?
Yeah. Take Denmark, for example. There, it's completely okay to have moments of silence during conversations. People don't feel the need to fill every pause with chatter. And it's considered a sign of comfort rather than awkwardness.
I wanted to say, maybe our married waivers. God, they were complaining when they talk and when they breathe. Some of their wives complain. Go to Denmark. Go to Denmark. Silence is golden in Denmark.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's okay to have that silence. So it's
okay,
not a
perfectly
sign
fine.
of like awkwardness.
No.
Oh, I wouldn't mind going to Denmark. Okay.
It's all about adapting and being mindful of the norms wherever you are.
I agree. And we shouldn't we like kind of like read up and do the research before we go anywhere?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I strongly recommend that.
Yes. And I think global etiquette, we live in this like era where we travel so much and like we can, at the snap of the fingers, we can be on a plane, go somewhere, and we should really be mindful of all the rules and etiquette and all that.
We know like really general etiquette, like don't eat with your mouth open or don't make noises while eating. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a pet peeve of mine. Like but nowadays I have to say people are very mindful of that. I think much more so of that the jup like chewing with your mouth open and things like that. But still read up on it, right?
What I really hate is people talking loudly in like public places.
Right. There are many, many pet peeves. We could have a whole segment just on pet peeves. Like, even like in Korea, like, like sitting on the subway with your legs open. There are people that still do that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thank you so much for sharing all these rules of etiquette, like globally when we go abroad, of what we should and shouldn't do. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
And I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yes. So this was Skills 101 with Jennifer. And, this is really important because I know many of you, yes, you do go abroad quite frequently, whether it's on business or for leisure. And yes, Denmark. I would love to go to Denmark and just sit in silence. I like silence. I think there is nothing wrong with that. And having that like silence kind of really envelop us. But of course, I can't be silent. That would be 방송사고 right now. But also looking at your messages, thank you for chiming in every morning. And with a roll call, I appreciate it. If you guys were silent and the chatter was gone, it would make my morning really, really mundane and boring. So Yes, I would definitely be really sad. So thank you for your chatter, taking the time to tune in and to send in your messages. I do appreciate it. All right. Well, it's time to say goodbye. But I want to give a shout out to our staff because I don't get a chance to do it every day. Sometimes I feel like I'm being chased. So a big shout out to our producer, Jo Yoon-jin. We have our writers, Haley and Annie. They do a great job every day, all three of them. And I'm your host, Catherine. I'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. And for our final song, how about this one? This is 도망가자 by 선우 정아. So have a beautiful day today and join us again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
도망가자 어디든 가야 할 곳만 같아 넌 금방이라도 올 것 같아 괜찮아 우리 가자 걱정은 잠시 내려놓고 대신 가볍게 짐을 챙기자 실컷 웃고 다시 돌아오자 거기서는 우리 아무 생각 말자 너랑 있을게 이렇게 손 내밀면 내가 잡을게 있을까 두려울 게 어디를 간다 해도 우린 서로를 꼭 붙잡고 있으니 너라서 나는 충분해 나를 봐 눈 맞춰줄래 너의 얼굴 위에 빛이 스며들 때까지 가보자 지금 나랑 도망가자 멀리 안 가도 괜찮을 거야 너와 함께라면 난 다 좋아 너의 맘이 변할 수